A lot of brands start with doing a dive watch, especially in the micro brand world. Blacklist, though, was a little bit different. Blacklist watches has always been, I want to say, racing inspired watches, racing themed. When you take a look at their website and you look at the colors, like this one's called the Black Widow, but that red is a Corsa red, which a lot of the names for the colors are taken from Italian sports cars and things like that. So they've always had that racing theme about them, that car theme about them. And their very first watches, which I covered on Watch Report here years ago, was actually a chronograph. It was a quartz chronograph. And then they've had a few watches over the years, such as the Streetmatic Chrono. And finally, this is their first dive watch. This is the Blacklist Divematic, keeping in with the theme of how he's named his previous watches. And what you're getting here is a really nice and solid standard dive watch. And I don't mean that to be demeaning towards the brand or the watch. In other words, he didn't go crazy and outside the box and try and reinvent the wheel with this watch. He went with what people generally like when it comes to dive watches. So as you saw in the graphics on the screen, it is a 43 millimeter case. This has the 9039 Miyota automatic movement. It is no date. You have large hands. You have relatively large indices here. A good amount of lume. You have lume on the bezel as well. Some nice contrast of that red. You're going to notice it's not overly done. You only have a little bit of red around the dial and, of course, that 15-minute mark of the bezel. You get a solid stainless steel bracelet, oyster style link bracelet. You do get solid end links. You do have an exhibition case back, a nice clasp. Now the clasp does not have a dive extension. That is something I notice with a lot of micro brands these days, is they're just forgoing the dive extension. And I know people out there are probably going to be like, well, it's a dive watch. Why doesn't it have a dive extension? And the reality is, for good reason. While a lot of us like our tools to be able to perform what they're intended to do, the reality is the majority of people that buy these watches and buy a lot of micro brand dive watches, they don't dive. They barely take their watches into the pool. Now, I'm not saying that across the board, or I'm not saying that is absolutely the case for every single person. But I've been around a long time. I've been on the forums for a long time, Facebook groups, and obviously I've been doing this for a pretty good a long time. I know most guys aren't going in the water with these watches. I actually have seen guys post that they take their watches off before even getting into the pool, dive watch, whether it be a micro brand, a Casio, a Rolex, or whatever. And let's be honest, a lot of divers, real professional divers these days, a wristwatch like this is a secondary piece compared to the dive wrist computer. Now, you do get a 200-meter water-resistant watch. It does have a screw-down crown. Only thing I'm going to mention really about that screw-down crown, you do have nice integrated crown guards. I feel the crown is a little bit small. I don't consider myself to be a massive guy. I'm about 6 foot tall. I got about 7.5-inch wrists, and I got medium-sized hands. The crown just feels a little bit small. It's hard to get at when I'm trying to, adjust the time there. But that's nitpicking, but I do wish that crown was a little bit larger. Everything else on this watch is pretty standard, what you would expect. The lume on it is good. And that's where it's good. It's not great. It's not going to, it's not going to be the lume monster or anything like that. It's good. You'll see some video there that I actually shot outside on the iPhone for a change. And coming right in from outside, you'll see here that just showing the Lume, you know, coming right in from a sunny day outside. Well, I shouldn't say sunny. It's kind of overcast right now. And then here's what the Lume looks like coming inside. I also have a little more regular Lume shot here towards the end of the video. On my wrist, 7.5-inch wrist. I think this is a great size. It's only 12 millimeters thick, or 12 millimeters thin, really, depending on how you want to look at it. It's a very wearable watch. It's a very solid feeling watch. And again, it's a safe bet. And I mean that, I don't mean that to be degrading in any way. You know, he wanted to come out with his first dive watch. He didn't want to go crazy. And there's a lot of brands, a lot of micro brands especially, that do definitely try something different. And sometimes that different, that sticks. And other times that different just does not work out for them. You know, everybody says, well, they want originality. They want, you know, more outside the box. But then a lot of the times when people do it, it's not what they wanted. Here, you're getting a pretty standard but really nicely made dive watch from Blacklist. You have that wave pattern in the dial. It does what it's supposed to do. It's an attractive piece in my opinion. It feels really nice. You have chamfers on the sides of the case and everything, and it is a attractive looking case. It's standard, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it's not exactly plain. It is a good looking watch, in my opinion. So if you want to see more about this, of course, I always have the full review at watchreport.com. I'll have the link down below for everything to the Blacklist website. And I want to mention here, before we get to the end of the video, if you haven't been on here before, if this is the first time you're here, I'd really appreciate it. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And if you want to see more of us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are our social media channels currently. And, you know, like the video, comment down below. Love to hear what you think about this Blacklist piece. As you saw, it's selling for $750. Is it worth it to you? Not worth it to you? I think it's a pretty good watch. Maybe it's a little bit on the high price, but you are getting a nice solid piece here. But of course, you're the guys that are going to determine whether it's worth it or not. Let me know if you liked the video. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.